My name is Sean, and I am here as part of the Victoria top left site.
My name is Vale 14, and I'm from Victoria, BC.
My name is Emma Konowitz, and I'm from Duncan.
My name is Kingsley Strudwick, and I live in Victoria, BC.
My experience with top left has been we've been trying to get youth engaged in gender-based violence and show youth that it is prevalent in their lives.
In Victoria, that has looked like doing a lot of action projects on the ground and in the community with youth, with the hope of engaging more boys and men in conversations around ending gender-based violence, but then moving that one step forward and not just having the conversations, but then seeing how that trickles out into actions in the community as well.
One of the big highlights for me has been helping youth form their own action plans as to what they can do in their own communities and in their own lives.
For me, identity is a way of understanding how I want to move and be in the world. And I have found over the past few years in getting to know and understand myself better that it's the places in which I struggle in the world that mean the most to me in terms of my identity. And I think that other people, even if my identity markers that mean the most to me are different from someone else's, it's that shared struggle that is the commonality, and that I can connect and have empathy with people because of that shared struggle. And yeah, so for me, like, queerness is a big one, and for other folks that might be being racialized or, coming from a place of poverty. But I think that if we can connect over struggle, then the movement that comes from that is pretty profound. And I think that that's why identity-based movements work, and they don't have to be divisive.
We've generally kind of built off the ideas that the youth had on their own and just used our own experiences in our own lives and our own action to help them formulate their plans and develop connections that can help them with their ideas.
We went to Camp Bernard and Souk, and then we did a camp for the top left.
And it was a conference up in Souk a couple weeks ago, and up there we did a lot of different things. We broke into smaller groups, and so each group was kind of different. The group I was in was involved around nature, so one of the things we did is we went on a nature hike, and each person found something that would identify themselves, and their gender.
So for the camp we had about 32 participants, and it was very dialogue based. We had the kids talking in small groups as well as in large group activities, all based around gender-based violence and exploring terms like consent and colonialism.
Where they're 2.5 days, people from around the South Island and at the interior of BC have come together, and it's just incredible to watch people who are ultimately strangers to one another as of Friday evening bond and connect and figure out their shared experiences or understand their differences, and through that kind of weave action plans that they can then take on Sunday afternoon and go do in the world. That all of that can happen over 48 hours of intensive time. Just, it feels really inspiring.
When you can talk to other people who were involved with that project, you can share and be open to it about the topics that we talk about.
So yeah, it's just pretty incredible to see after we have our top left youth camps that 40 people are coming together, and that may be their first moment of realizing, oh my gosh, 40 other people are thinking about this and want to create change. And then also when they go back to their home communities or their home youth groups or whatever that might look like, they also have a network of people who they can contact to develop actions, or if they're experiencing problems in developing those actions, they just have a network of resources basically to access.
I think top left, I guess, helps people build into a more progressive identity and like showing youth that they can change the world that they live in. So I guess it can also help youth like come to terms with their own identity and help.
It will open the eyes of the people who see it, like how they understand it before, then after.
When I came into Top Left, I was a participant in the program, and now in my second year, I have taken on some facilitation roles, so it's really helped me grow in this sort of area of my life.
It's kind of nice to see that, like, it's not only me who's trying to make a difference, like, there's more people, and it's not just me, and it's cool to see that, like, everyone, like, a lot of people are trying to make a difference and make a change.
I've definitely gained skills in, like, how to approach gender-based violence, but I've also just, like, gained an interest and gained motivation to help promote change.
What I'm taking away from Top Left is the like cold hard skills of knowing how to say, yeah, I get it, it's tough to be a person in the world, and also because you're a boy or a man or a masculine identified queer person in the world, that we need to look at that and not let ourselves off the hook, because yeah, ultimately, if we want to see change in the world, but we're not willing to do it, then who's going to do it? And so Victoria specifically has had a huge focus on doing bystander intervention. So that can look like kind of acting out scenes where something negative happens, someone, does street harassment or says something sexist, and then members of the audience will step in and practice what they would actually say. Because I know before Top Left in my life, when those moments aren't happening, I'm like, oh, of course I would know what to do. Like, someone's going to say this, and then in the moment I'm going to say that. But if I don't actually practice, then when those moments happen, like 9 times out of 10, I'll freeze. Be like, here's a sexist thing, and here's me. So through Top Left, we've had so many opportunities to have those practice moments where now in my life, the negative thing gets said, and I'm like, oh, I know what to say because I've already done this 100 times before in a safe environment where that's possible.
The 2 key messages I've gotten at a Top Left is that it's showing youth that gender-based violence is prevalent in their lives, and it's showing them how they can take action to deal with that.
Like, privilege is really easy to not look at. And so I think that Top Left does a really good job of giving focus to those places that are invisible. So that might be, giving a focus to men within sexism, or giving a focus to white folks within racism, and understanding how people benefit from identity markers. Because, yeah, I think it's easy for folks who experience privilege to walk through the world and not see it. That's how it operates, and that's how it replicates itself. So Top Left has been huge in I guess bringing to light people's responsibility, because responsibility lives in privilege, and change only happens when people can be willing to let go of that privilege, because ultimately everybody benefits when that happens.
Violence happens to everyone, everywhere, and instead of leaving the weight for one person to try and deal with everything, that everyone should kind of take a stand and help out.
It is like a fundamental responsibility to sit down and take a look at yourself and really understand where you experience privilege in the world and where you experience violence in the world, and to sit with the fact that everyone experiences both, but to take responsibility for the places in which we do experience privilege, and not allow our other identity markers to, give us a free pass through the world.
Don't hurt somebody's feelings.
Everyone deserves safety in the world, and that depending on our identities, people will have varying levels of responsibility for taking that on.
Gender-based violence exists and is prevalent in all of our lives in whatever manifestations that is, and youth need to be the ones to take that on.